This video is to go over the syllabus for the long summer session of Biology 1401. You can get to the syllabus by clicking on the link in the syllabus section. Your navigation through the course is these white buttons on the left-hand side of the screen. So looking at the syllabus, you do have my contact information in here, my cell phone number. Typically the easiest way to get a hold of me is going to be using the class email. I typically check my email usually every day, but definitely will respond within 48 hours. If it's something that's very urgent, you might want to write urgent in the subject line. You can call or text my cell, but please use that more for emergencies rather than for simple things that email would suffice for. Just to remember, just something to keep in mind is I don't answer my phone, nor will I return calls or check my email after 10 p.m. at night or on Sundays. So make sure if you have a question about an assignment, you email me soon enough that I have time to answer that and get back with you before the assignment is due. You can also contact the College of Natural Sciences and Mathematics at their phone number if you have just a general question about the course. The next part of the syllabus is a course description and a list of the 4 learner-centered outcomes and objectives. There will be quizzes that will assess whether or not you've accomplished these outcomes and objectives. And the overall mission for this class, for my mission for this class, is to help you understand the evidence for a creator, the complex world he has created for his glory, and then our responsibility to this creator to be good stewards of what he has made. As far as the required materials, you must have both the textbook and the lab manual to succeed in this class, and you really need both by the very first day of class. There are textbook chapters that are assigned, there are labs that are assigned the first week of class, and you're going to get behind very, very quickly if you don't have the appropriate supplies. You need to have the textbook and the lab manual, you need to have a computer, and you need to have reliable internet access. If you don't have those 4 things, you are going to have a very difficult time in this class making a passing grade. So if for some reason you can't afford the course materials or you've ordered them late and don't have them, sometimes that happens where they're back ordered, please contact me ASAP to discuss options. But I'm just telling you, you're going to need both the textbook and the lab manual to do this class. Now, the way the online labs work in a class like this is there's going to be a third-party website, biolabmanual.com, that hosts these labs. They're interactive videos with PowerPoint presentations. You use the lab manual that you buy from the DBU bookstore to help you work through these labs that are online. You don't really need any other supplies, other than maybe a calculator, but you can work through those using that. There will be lab reports that you will download from the course, and in another video where I walk through navigating the course, I'll show you that. But you'll download those lab reports, you'll fill them out, and then you'll submit them as an assignment through Blackboard. There's another video that goes over that. And the student grader will grade those and then get your reports posted, the grades for your reports posted. There also will be a lab quiz that you take online as well. Here is how your final grade for the course will be determined. It's based on several different things. So class participation is 20% of the final grade. The class participation is primarily judged by the discussion boards and then any contact you have with the instructor, attendance, that sort of thing. 20% of your grade will be the weekly quizzes over the assigned textbook readings. 10% of the grade will be the midterm exam halfway through the summer semester. Your lab assignments, so those lab reports I was mentioning earlier, that's 20% of your final grade. The lab quizzes make up 20%, and then the final exam is 10%. So you'll notice that 40% of your class has to do with the lab assignments and the lab quizzes. So 40% of your overall grade for the class will be dependent upon the labs. Something you need to remember is if you fail the lab portion of the course, so if you have a less than 60% average on both the lab quizzes and the lab assignments, you automatically fail the entire course regardless of how well you did on these other things. And that's just something that's standard at DBU for classes that have labs. If you fail the lab, you fail the whole thing. I will have a section in your grades that will give you a running total for your lab portion. So you can keep track of that, but basically you need to be passing greater than 60% on average the quizzes and the assignments. Just a note here, you are responsible for making sure that I receive submitted assignments and that the grader has received submitted assignments. If you submit the assignment through Blackboard the way I show you in the video, the lab assignment, it will tell you, like you'll see that it's been submitted. If you email it to me or if you email it to the student grader, we will try to get back with you, like respond back to say that we've received it. So if you don't hear back from us, you need to follow up on that. Because sometimes things get sent in the email and then we don't get them. So you are responsible for contacting me if you have an unexpected zero that you thought you turned something in, or if you emailed it to me or you emailed it to the student grader and you didn't hear back within a couple of days, then you need to contact us. An online class does require a lot of organization and dedication, especially this summer, because we've condensed down 16 weeks of material into 10 weeks. So this is a very work-heavy course anyway, even during the fall and the spring semesters. So it's going to be extremely busy this summer. You're going to have to spend a lot of time every week working on this course. So one of the things I'm doing to kind of encourage you for keeping up is I don't accept late work, so you've got to stay on track. Coming up shortly here in the syllabus, there will be an outline for the course schedule, and it will have deadlines listed. But the way this course works is the folders will open up on Sunday, and then they're due by midnight on Saturday night. And typically you'll have up to 2 weeks to complete all of your assignments before the deadline, so you'll have access to them for 2 weeks before the deadline. But midnight on Saturday night, so 11:59 p.m. on Saturday night, is when we have deadlines. And the reason I do that is I really don't particularly want you working on Sunday if possible. The Bible tells us to keep the Sabbath holy. Also, I'm not going to work on Sunday if I can possibly avoid it, and so it's just easier to have the week be from Sunday to Saturday, so that way I can check my email on Saturday, get back with you if there are any questions, that sort of thing, rather than on Sunday. One note as far as discussion boards is you need to get your initial comments posted by midnight on Thursday of that week, because we want to give everybody time to read the initial comments and then have a good conversation. If everybody posts on Saturday, you don't usually have as good of a conversation or as good of interactions in those discussion boards. As I mentioned a few moments ago, most of the assignments will be available on Blackboard for 2 weeks prior to their deadlines. You should have plenty of time to complete them. The only exception to this would be exams, which are usually available for a very specific time period. You usually have a few days to get the exam done. So the midterm and the final are usually available for about 72 hours, usually starting on Wednesday and then ending on Saturday. If you know that you're going to be out of town or you can be very busy during a particular week, you can work ahead if you need to. But remember, I do not accept late work. If you enroll in the class after the first week but before the deadline, then you can email me and I'll give you some extra time to make up whatever work you've missed. Make-up exams, the midterm and the final, are allowed on very specific case-by-case bases depending on what has happened. So if you have a life-altering event such as a death in the family, a severe illness, hospitalization, please contact me either by email or text so we can discuss kind of what your options are as far as making up exams. The standard for DBU is that you should expect to get a response back within 48 hours of sending an email. But as I said before, I usually try to check it every day, so I get back with you as quickly as I can, since things can happen, are happening so fast this semester with all of the assignments you have. And then you should expect to have most of your graded assignments done within 1 week of the due date, 1 to 2 weeks on the labs, but usually within a week. You should have grades posted. So if you see a 0 and you don't think you should have had a 0 because you thought you turned something in, you need to contact me as soon as you see that 0 so we can get that worked out. The attendance policy for DBU is that if you exceed 25% of the total class time with absences, then you can fail the class. The way that works for an online class is if you don't do any of the assignments, you don't email me, you have no contact, you haven't logged in, that's considered an absence. So 25% of total class time for a 10-week course, like the summer, would be 3 weeks where you don't do anything in the course. So that means that if you don't do anything in the course for 4 weeks or more out of the 10, then you're probably going to fail. But realistically, there's enough work in those 4 weeks that if you're getting zeros and all of those things anyway, you're probably going to fail regardless. But as far as DBU's attendance policy, you can fail just because of the absences regardless of anything else. The grading is a standardized grading for all of the Math and Sciences College. So you'll get a letter grade as your overall grade for the course. And as I had before, I had the breakdown on how you earn that letter grade. But you can determine your letter grade based off of your percentage. In your grades, in your grade book on Blackboard, you'll have a running total that says, I think, final grade for the course. And that will give you an idea about where you are as you're progressing through the course. There will be assigned textbook readings. There'll be videos, study guides, PowerPoint lectures, lab exercises, a lot of different things that will be used to present the material. You can also email me if you need help with something. Typically, if I have a student email me about a specific problem, either in the lab or in the lecture, I usually make a short video or a handout to kind of go over it, because I'm assuming that you're not the only one that has that question. So please feel free to ask questions. Don't be hesitant about that. I'm here to help you. So if you do have a question, you should definitely email me. Here is the schedule of assignments. This is what I was talking about. So there is a lot going on this summer. This is a very, very busy 10 weeks for this course. Remember, this is a 4-hour course, so this is a lot of work, and you are cramming it into 10 weeks. So as I mentioned before, it's usually a 16-week session. And so what we've done here in the summer is we still have the same session folders, the same 16 session folders that you would have in the spring or the fall, but we've condensed them or combined them into the different weeks of the 10-week summer session. So the way this table works, and this table is going to be important, you might want to print it off. It's also available in the course schedule in the course itself. But it breaks down the weeks, so the 10 weeks of the summer session are listed, as well as the dates for those 10 weeks. And then what folders, what session folders you're going to need to access to complete the assignments that are due for that week. So, for example, week 1, which is June 1st to June 6th, you're only going to have to access the first session folder. The assigned lecture material are chapters 1 and 2. You'll have a quiz over chapters 1 and 2. You'll have one lab that's assigned, and you'll have 2 discussions. There's a class introductions discussion and a cystic fibrosis discussion. Now what I've done here is I don't have anything due that first week, so the due date for the week 1 assignments is actually the same due date as the week 2 assignments, which is June 13th. So you have 2 weeks to really get started in the class. I would not recommend, though, waiting till the second week to get everything done, because look, the second week you have 2 chapters that are assigned to read. You have the quiz, you've got 2 labs, and you have a discussion board. So you really need to keep up with the class because there's a lot of stuff going on. But I've tried to make it as easy to understand as possible with this chart, so you know exactly what you've got to get done, which folders to find the material in, and then what due dates you have. The other kind of weird due date here is the 4th of July is a holiday. So I'm not going to have anything due on the 4th of July. This week's assignments will be due that following Monday, so July 6th before midnight on that Monday. So you've got the midterm here in week 5 that's over chapters 1 through 12, and you've got the final exam in week 10. Now this is a little weird too. If you're a graduating senior, you've got to have everything done by August 1st so that I can get your grade entered so that you can graduate. So if you're a graduating senior, you need to let me know that as soon as you can, so we can make sure you have everything done. The rest of the students will have until August 7th to get everything done. I have listed here some extra reference materials if you're interested, as well as other recommended reading. There's some other things here that you should be familiar with as far as financial aid, disabilities. As far as honor code, in an online class, you are agreeing on your honor to complete everything without any outside assistance unless I tell you otherwise. Outside assistance includes, but is not limited to, other students, maybe ones that have previously taken the class or that are currently in the class, family, friends, textbooks, online resources, reference books, all of that, notes, quizzes, exams. You are not supposed to be completing the quizzes and the exams with any help, any outside help. The lab reports, obviously you can use your textbook, you can use a lab manual, but you should not be copying from someone else's lab report. If you aren't sure if something qualifies as outside assistance, then assume that it does, or ask me for clarification. The final course grade will be what you see in Blackboard. I don't do any curves. And so once you see that final grade, that will give you a good clue as far as where you are in the course. The lab grade in Blackboard that you'll see is primarily for your information, because if you fail the lab portion of the class, you fail the class overall. As long as you pass the lab portion, you'll receive a CR or a credit for that part of your lab grade. If you fail both, you get an F for the class and a no credit or NC for the lab portion of the course. We've already talked a little bit about graduating students, but definitely get a hold of me very quickly if you're planning on graduating, because Saturday, August 1st is your deadline for everything, because I've got to get your grades entered by noon before commencement. So we've got to get that stuff done. And then just one last note, it is very important to me that you succeed in this class, so don't hesitate to contact me if you're having problems with the material or the assignments. I'd rather get something under control early when it's a small problem at the beginning of the semester than wait till it becomes a big problem by the end of the semester. And definitely in this 10 weeks, things will compound quickly if you are getting behind. So please email me if you're having any problems, and we'll see what we can do to help. There may be some changes to the course schedule. If that happens, I will post an announcement on Blackboard to keep you updated. I use the announcements as well, just to kind of remind you what's all is due for each week as you're going, and I use that just as a general place to keep you up to date with things in the class.